What if I told you one of baseball's most reliable innings eaters is still sitting in free agency while teams scramble to figure out their rotations? Chris Bassett threw over 170 innings last season with a sub-4 ERA, then proved he could dominate in October pressure situations. Yet here we are, deep into the offseason, and he's still looking for a home. The reality is pretty straightforward. Toronto's roster construction has made it virtually impossible for them to bring Bassett back. They went out and grabbed Dylan Cease. They've got Cody Ponce in the mix now, and when you line up their rotation, there's simply no space. Shane Bieber, Kevin Gausman, and Trey Yesavage are locked in. That's 5 right there. Then you look deeper, and they've still got Jose Barrios, Eric Lauer, Bowden Francis, and the highly touted Ricky Tiedemann waiting in the wings. The Blue Jays aren't hurting for arms. But this creates an opportunity for someone else, and Detroit makes way too much sense to ignore. The Tigers took a real step forward last year. They pushed their way into October. They battled through the division series, and they showed everyone that their rebuild is over. This team is ready to compete now. The problem is their window might be smaller than people realize. Tarik Skubal is heading into his final season before free agency. Think about that for a second. You've got one of the best young pitchers in baseball, a guy who can genuinely anchor your staff through a deep playoff run, and you've got one guaranteed year left with him. The front office has to be feeling the urgency. You don't waste years like this. Jack Flaherty gives them a solid number 2 option, but what happens after that? The drop-off is real. This is where Bassett becomes the perfect fit. He's not going to demand some massive contract that hamstrings your payroll for years. He's proven, he's durable, and he knows how to pitch when it matters most. Slotting him in as your number 3 behind Skubal and Flaherty suddenly gives Detroit a rotation that can legitimately compete with anyone in the American League. Let's talk about what Bassett actually did last season because the numbers tell an interesting story. He posted a 3.96 ERA across 32 appearances. That's consistency. That's a guy eating innings and keeping your bullpen fresh. Sure, Toronto moved him to the pen for October, but look at what he did there. 1 run allowed across 7 relief appearances. He threw 8 2/3 innings in the postseason and was absolutely lights out. That versatility is valuable, but make no mistake, Bassett is a starting pitcher. Teams looking for rotation help should absolutely view him that way. The market has been weird this winter. Sometimes these things happen where everybody's waiting for the first domino to fall. Teams are probably holding out to see where some of the bigger names end up before they commit to guys in that next tier. That's likely what's happening with Bassett. He's caught in this limbo where teams know he can help them, but they're playing the waiting game. Detroit shouldn't wait. They've got a legitimate chance to do something special next season, and that chance is directly tied to maximizing the Skubal window. Adding Bassett doesn't just upgrade the rotation, it sends a message. It tells Skubal that management is serious about winning now. It tells the clubhouse that last year wasn't a fluke. It tells the division that Detroit is here to stay. The cost-benefit analysis here is pretty clear. You're not mortgaging your future for Bassett. You're making a smart, calculated addition of a proven veteran who can slot right into your playoff rotation. When October rolls around and you're mapping out a series, having Skubal, Flaherty, and Bassett as your top 3 options puts you in position to win games against anybody. This feels like one of those moves that makes too much sense not to happen. Detroit's timeline demands urgency. Bassett's skill set matches their needs perfectly, and the price point should work for both sides. Sometimes in baseball, the obvious move is actually the right move.